Hello everyone. In today's video, we will be talking about someone who hails from the misty hills, who emerges as one of the India's most poetic voices. She is also a storyteller who bridges tradition and modernity. She is none other than Mamang Dai. Yes, in today's video, we will be discussing the lives, the works, and then the themes of Mamang Dai's writing, right? So Mamang Dai is not just a great Indian author, she is also a celebrated journalist, she is a great writer, she is a poet, and of course, one of the most powerful voices of Noticed. So I have divided today's slot into three parts. In the first slot, we will be discussing about the biography of Mamang Dai, and in the second slot, we will be seeing the works of Mamang Dai in chronological order. And then in the third slot, we will be discussing about the awards and honors and then the themes of her writings. Right? So let's begin. So her full name is Mamang Dai, and then she was born in 1957 in Pasigat, which is in Arunachal Pradesh, and then she belongs to Adi tribe, right? And by profession, she is a poet, she is a journalist, she is a novelist, and then she is also a former IAS officer, right? Okay, so Mamang Dai is a celebrated Indian author, poet, and then journalist from Northeast Arunachal Pradesh. She began her career as an IAS officer but later resigned to pursue writing and journalism. So initially Mamang Dai was an IAS officer, but she has resigned from the very post of an IAS officer, and then she pursued her career in writing and journalism, right? Okay, so she is deeply influenced by her tribal heritage. She has become one of the most powerful voices who represents her culture, ecology, and oral traditions of Northeast India, right? So in her writings, आपको heritage का ऊपर themes मिलेगा. You will be seeing her representing her own culture, her own ecology, and then the oral traditions of Northeast India, right? So let's see her works in detail. So Mamang Dai has written so many works. She has contributed so many works in the field of English literature. But in this video, we will be only seeing the major works of Mamang Dai in chronological order. So see, chronologically आपको हर works याद रहना है, because usually आजकल क्या होता है कि exam में they asked the chronological questions more, right? So in order to solve that, and then in order to grab that very marks, you have to remember the works in chronological order, right? Okay, so the first major work is River Poems. So it was published in 2004, and then it's a poetry collection which talks about the nature, its time, and then spirituality. So it talks about that. The second major work is Once Upon a Moon Time. So it's a children's fiction which talks about the folk tales from Arunachal Pradesh, and then it is retold for children, right? So जो भी folk tales है which is from Arunachal Pradesh, it is retold for children for the sake of children's pleasure reading, right? So Once Upon a Moon Time क्या है? It's a children's fiction, right? Okay, the next is The Legend of Pansam. So Legend of Pansam is a novel. So आपको याद रखना है कि कौन सा वर्क नॉवल है, कौन सा वर्क चिल्ड्रन फिक्शन है, एंड देन कौन सा वर्क जो है पोइट्री कलेक्शन है, राइट? सो लेजेंड ऑफ पंसम it talks about the myths and modern stories about tribal identity. So see, tribal identity is something which is very common in Mamang Dai's writing, because since she is a tribal girl, she was born in the land of tribals, right? Since she is from the northeastern community, which is filled with so many tribal people, right? So she talks about that. She talks about the quest and then the identity of tribal people, right? Okay, next work is The Balm of Time. So it's a poetry which was published in 2008, and then it reflects the harmony between human life and nature, right? So how beautifully human is adjusting with the nature. So it talks about that, right? The next major work is Stupid Cupid, which is also a novel, and then it talks about modern urban life and its relationship in a humorous way, right? So basically it's a humorous take on modern life and relationships. Okay, the next major work is The Black Hill, which was published in 2014. This work you have to do in detail because this work is very, very important. You have to remember the publication date, you have to remember the title, you have to remember which genre it belongs to. It is a novel, and then it is a historical fiction which talks about Gimur and Kajingsa, who hails from the Mishmi Hills, right? So it has so many important characters which you have to remember, and then the themes has to be in your fingertips, right? Because this novel is very important. And then she has won Sahitya Academy in the year 2017 for this very work, right? Okay, the next major work is Midsummer Survival Lyrics. So it's a poetry which focuses on survival, nature and memory, right? Okay, and then the latest work of Mamang Dai is Scaping the Land. So Scaping the Land is a novel. Scaping जो क्या है, it talks about the displacement, it talks about migration, and it talks about the sense of belonging, right? So this is a latest work of Mamang Dai which you have to remember. And then I want to mention it again. Mamang Dai has written so many works. No, she has contributed so many works in the field of literature, but these are only some of the major works. No, तो बहुत सारा works में से these are the major works. So this you have to remember. Okay, so these are the awards and honors. See, Mamang Dai has won so many awards. She has won more than 10 to 15 awards. But these are only the major awards and honors which was given or presented to Mamang Dai. So the first major award is Padma Shri. Of course, it is very, very important because this is one of the most prestigious civilian award, right? And she has won it for her contribution to literature and education. And then in the year 2013, she has won governor's gold medal for her excellence in journalism and literature, right? And then in the year 2017, she has won Sahitya Academy Award for her novel The Black Hill, which we have mentioned just a few minutes ago. So she has won Sahitya Academy Award for her novel, which is The Black Hill, right? And it's a historical novel. It's a historical fiction. And then now you have to tell me that who was the first person to receive Sahitya Academy from Arunachal Pradesh. No? So it was Teshi Dorji who has won Sahitya Academy. And you have to tell me the works for which he has won Sahitya Academy. So you have to comment in a comment section below. And then you have to let me know, right? Okay, now we will be discussing the major themes in her works. So the first is nature and ecology. So it is quite obvious that nature and ecology has to be the part of Mamang Dai's writing because she is a daughter of nature. She was born in the lap of nature. So of course in all her works you will be discussing or you will be seeing the themes of nature and ecology, right? Okay, the next is tribal myths and oral traditions. So since she was from the Adi tribe, she has also mentioned about the folk tales, the myths, and then the storytelling traditions from Adi community in her writings. The next theme is identity and belonging. So Mamang Dai, she has not just spoken about nature, she has not just spoken about myths and traditions, she has also spoken about cultural roots and tribal people of northeastern communities. She has spoken about the quest for the identity. What is the essence of tribal people? How do they feel? What is their relationship with the mainland people? So she has depicted all the elements in her writing. Okay, the next point is tradition versus modernity. So of course she has also spoken about the conflict between old customs and new lifestyles, right? How new lifestyles is affecting the old customs. She has also spoken about that. And then the next important theme is spirituality, where she talks about connection between humans, ancestors, and nature, right? And then the last important point is woman's strength. So this is obviously, it has to be a point in her writing, because if you take a dig in the work of Kamala Das, if you take the work of Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, Sylvia Plath, Emily Dickinson, if you take any woman's writing, you see this themes in common, right? Because they do talk about women's strength. So here in her writing, she says that, you know, women are the guardian of culture. They are not just meant to collect sticks, but they are the guardian of culture and then the voices of resilience. So she says that, you know, woman plays a vital role in the society, so as men, you know, the women are not behind men. So she says that she says and she depicts that, you know, women are the guardian, you know, they are not the second sex, so to say, right? So she talks about that, right? So we have seen the biography of Mamang Dai, we have seen the works, we have seen the awards, and then we have also seen the major works, major themes in her works, right? So this was it for today's video. Thank you for watching my video till the end.